How about, he said, a dating app that records consent to sex? He said that it's an idea borrowed from Denmark, which is an iConsent app, which gives users a 24-hour consent contract to have sex with their partner. Now, I was immediately thinking, wait a minute, this is a pretty good idea for protecting men from being accused of rape, including when a woman changes her mind during sex, which is not so good. But how does it actually protect women? Joining me for Straight Talk is Mark Latham, former federal Labor leader and now One Nation leader in the New South Wales Parliament. Mark, thank you so much for joining me. Mick Fuller has since said, I mean, he's copped a bit, that his app to record consent for sex might be the worst idea he's had all year. Was it?
Well, Andrew, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. I mean, the idea that because of a few headlines out of Canberra, the New South Wales Police Commissioner has put out a proposal. All of us here in New South Wales, including someone like myself, married for 20 years, to make love to your partner, you've got to stop at the moment of foreplay and say, hang on, what? I've got to log into my app here. Talk about a mood breaker. Talk about driving down the birth rate with that particular manoeuvre. And you're into your app, and then you're supposed to resurrect where you're at. Now, this is the wackiest, zaniest intrusion of government power. And to make it worse, Mick Fuller has said all this data would be held by a private company. So great news for the Chinese, I suppose. Great news for the extortion industry as well.
Oh, mate, Andrew, I didn't even know that detail. That's bizarre.
Yeah,
private
company, yeah, holds the data. So how good is that? And but the irony here, and I suppose the lesson for someone like Mick Fuller, he's absolutely panned in the Sydney media and the leftist media websites today. Every woman with a keypad has got right into him, stuck right into him. Mick Fuller, you've got to understand this. You've made a play here for the woke left feminist sympathy and vote. They'll never support you. You're a white, straight man wearing a uniform. And it's a complete act of delusion to put this thought bubble out there thinking, oh, this will soften things up and get the lefty women off my back. They hate you more than ever. So there's a real lesson there for people like Mick Fuller. Just stick to your day job. Stick to sensible policing policies. Forget about the politics, because you can never please the constituency he aimed this wacky idea at today.
Makes me wonder how crazy the Danes must be, but there you go. Another bad idea I want to float past you, or maybe it's not a bad idea, I'll hear from you. The head of ASIO, our top spy organisation, says he's no longer going to refer to either Islamic terrorism or right-wing terrorism. I guess he's trying to be balanced. He says it's not helpful. Now, from now on, he says, ASIO will refer instead to religiously motivated violent extremism and ideologically motivated violent extremism. Good idea, Mark?
No, a very bad PC idea yet again. You know, what's he saying there? All those Baptists have got to stop being so violent in their religious motivations. I mean, it's been a thing since 9/11, hasn't it? It's been an international concern event. Australia fought a war over it in Iraq. Radical Islamic terrorism, and people know what that means. We want to see the end of it. The war on terror shows signs of being won, but you wouldn't want to be complacent about it. So nothing beats straight talk language that communicates with the public. But, Andrew, is ASIO so busy now with this woke PC approach? Do they ever catch any spies? I'm just wondering about ASIO. Is there any evidence out there?
They claim they did. A few Russians. Yeah,
I
don't know. A few Russians. But I got to say, Mark, I think this is another thing that could backfire, because you're going to get, every time now you hear from ASIO, we've arrested some religiously inspired violent extremists, you're going to assume they mean Muslim. You're going to make that little translation in your head, even if by some chance they're not Muslim. So now every time you hear this, I think most people will assume they mean Muslim, and it might not be. And also the other thing, I wonder, the response to Islamic extremism or Islam extremism must be different than the response we would have to Christian extremism. I don't know. You would respond differently. You need to know the difference. So we're actually being kept in the dark about something we may well need to know.
Well, that's right. And for the interests of public safety, the more information, accurate, detailed information that goes out about the perpetrator, the more the public can adjust themselves to what might be the most recent threat. So I would have thought these sort of generalisations, this sanitised language, is not very helpful for the public in understanding clearly the nature of the issue. There might be new types of threats, right-wing extremism, religiously motivated, non-Islamic extremism, who knows? But the more detail you provide, the safer people can be and more aware of what's going on.